There's a noticeable shift in how women behave when an attractive man enters the picture, even if they don't say a word about it. It doesn't always show up in obvious ways, and that's where most people get it wrong. So, in this topic, we're breaking down how women often act around men they find attractive and what those behaviors usually mean in real situations. So, you can start recognizing the signals that most people overlook. And the interesting part is, it's usually not what she does once, it's the pattern she music repeats without realizing it. So, let's get straight into them. Number one, they try to seem extra relaxed, but it looks forced. The harder someone tries to look unaffected, the easier it is to spot that something's up. Let me explain. There are times when a woman notices a guy she finds attractive, music, and instead of showing obvious interest, she goes out of her way to act super chill about it. She might lean back like she's completely unbothered, keep her expression a little too neutral, or act almost overly casual in the way she talks and moves. It can look controlled, like she's carefully making sure she doesn't give too much away. You might even notice small things that don't match the relaxed image she's trying to project, like nervous hand movements, a slight change in her voice, or moments where she slips and suddenly becomes more aware of herself. That contrast is what gives it away. Attraction naturally creates self-consciousness because, people start caring about the impression they're making. So, when someone really doesn't want that interest to be obvious, they often overdo the "I'm totally relaxed" music act. It's basically a way of covering up the fact that your presence affected them. That's why this sign, music, matters. The forced calmness usually means there's something she's trying to manage internally. And more often than not, it's the kind of music, attention, and awareness that comes from being genuinely drawn to someone. Number two, they create music, little accidental opportunities to interact. Sometimes the accident isn't really an accident at all. You know how a woman might suddenly ask you music, something she could have easily figured out herself, or just happen to walk past you more than once, or make some small music comment that gives you an easy chance to respond. Yeah, those little moments usually aren't random. She might ask for help with something simple, mention something out loud hoping you'll jump into the conversation, or find a reason to be in your space without making it look too obvious. Music. It's usually subtle because most women don't want to come across as too forward. So instead of making a direct move, they create music natural openings that make the interaction feel casual and effortless. The reason this means something is because when a woman is interested, she wants connection, but she also wants to protect herself from possible rejection. Creating these small accidental opportunities lets her test the waters without fully putting herself out there. It gives you the chance to respond music and show interest too. So, if she keeps finding little ways to cross paths or start tiny interactions, it usually means she's giving you an opening. She's basically making it easier for you to start something while keeping it natural enough that, it doesn't feel forced for either of you. Third, their energy shifts the second you walk in. The whole vibe changes the moment you show up. You know how sometimes you walk into a room and everything feels normal at first, but then one person suddenly acts just a little different? Maybe she was laughing loudly with her music friends, talking freely, and then the second she notices you, her energy shifts. She might straighten up, fix her posture, go a little quieter, or suddenly start acting more animated, right? Sometimes she'll start music talking more than usual, almost like she's trying to stand out, and other times she'll do the complete opposite and become more music reserved. That shift happens because attraction naturally makes people more aware of themselves. When a woman notices a guy she finds attractive, her brain instantly becomes more focused on how she's coming across. So, without even thinking about it, her behavior adjusts. She's suddenly paying attention to things she wasn't a second ago, like how she looks, how she sounds, or whether you noticed her too. That's why this sign matters. It's not just random behavior. It usually means your music presence changed her focus, and people only become that aware when someone has caught their attention in a real way. Number four, they laugh quicker at things you say. Yeah, this is one of those little signs that can reveal way more than people realize. When a woman is attracted to a guy, she often reacts to what he music says with a little more enthusiasm than she normally would. You might notice her laughing quickly at something that was only mildly funny, music smiling extra hard at a simple comment, or reacting as if your joke landed way bigger than it probably should have. It's usually not fake or forced either. The reaction tends to come naturally because attraction changes how someone music experiences your presence. When she already likes you or finds you attractive, there's this positive bias that kicks in. So, the things you say automatically feel more engaging, more entertaining, music, and more interesting to her. That's why the bar for what gets a laugh becomes lower. It's less about the joke being incredible and more about who it's coming from. Attraction makes people music more receptive. So, right, even a random comment can hit differently because she's already tuned into you. On top of music, that laughing is also a natural way to build connection. It creates comfort and keeps the interaction flowing. So sometimes she laughs a little quicker because, on some level, she wants to keep that good energy going between you two. That's why this sign often means there's genuine interest there, music, because people usually don't respond with that kind of effortless warmth unless they're already enjoying your presence more than they're letting on. The fifth one is they keep checking if you're paying attention. A quick glance can say way more than words ever could. You know when someone keeps casually looking your way, music, like they're trying not to make it obvious, but they keep doing it anyway? That's usually a big sign. She might glance over while talking to her friends, check your reaction after she says music something, or kind of scan the room just to see if your eyes are on her. You know? Sometimes it's super subtle, so subtle you could miss it if music you're not paying attention. It's not always about staring or doing something dramatic. A lot of times it's those small repeated checks that music matter. So guys, the reason this means something is because when a woman is attracted to a guy, she naturally music becomes curious about how he sees her. Like she wants to know if you noticed her, if you're paying attention, or if there's any sign that you might be interested too. That curiosity comes from investment. People don't usually spend energy checking for someone's attention unless that person matters to them in some way. So, if she keeps looking to see whether you noticed her, it usually means your opinion carries weight in that moment. And that only happens when there's some level of attraction or interest there. Number 6. Their friends suddenly start noticing you too. Gentlemen, when her friends start paying attention to you, something's probably already been said. You know how sometimes you'll notice a woman's friends suddenly glancing at you, smiling, whispering to each other, or music like acting a little different whenever you're around? That usually doesn't just happen for no reason. Of times, if a woman finds a guy attractive, her reaction to him is obvious enough for her friends to pick up on it right away. Maybe she mentioned you before, maybe she pointed you out, or maybe her whole energy shifted when you walked in and her friends caught it, right? Friends notice these things fast because they're used to reading each other's behavior. They can tell when one of them is suddenly more aware, more nervous, or more interested than usual. And once they notice, they often get curious themselves. Sometimes music checking you out to see what she sees, or subtly watching how things play out between you two. That's why this sign can mean a lot. It usually shows there's already some level of interest there because her attention towards you was strong enough for the people around her to notice it too. So guys, if her friends seem unusually aware of your presence, like they're in on something you haven't figured out yet, there's a good chance music she either talked about you or reacted in a way that made her interest pretty clear. And that's pretty much it. If you made it this far, music, you're already starting to see things most people completely miss. So keep that awareness sharp. And yeah, more breakdowns like this are coming soon. See you next time.